to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show, the show where we talk about all things that are important in the world of barbecue. From big-name interviews with competitors on the barbecue circuit, grill manufacturers and pit makers, to advice on cooking brisket and ribs. You'll find it all right here on the Barbecue Central Show. Your host, Greg Rempe, is a backyard barbecue and grilling fanatic and loves to talk about his passion, which many of us share together. You can learn more about barbecue and grilling by visiting the website, thebbqcentral.com. Now, let's get in the smoke. Here's your program host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show, the show where we talk about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. This program originates from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, dare I say it? Yeah, I will. The barbecue capital of the North Coast of Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you for joining me. You have made a tremendous decision, Centralites, to tune in to the Barbecue Central Show, an absolute jam-packed show full of entertainment and content and all that great show. But before we get into what is exactly happening on this show, let me give you your contact information. You can get in contact with the show at any time by emailing bbqcentralradio@gmail.com, bbqcentralradio@gmail.com. You can also leave an audio question by calling the Barbecue Central audio hotline at 216-220-0966. I will stick it up on air. You will hear your voice ask the question, and then I will, of course, try and answer that for you. If I don't have the exact answer, I can certainly pool my resources and get the proper answer to your question. Again, contact info, bbqcentralradio@gmail.com, audio hotline 216-220-0966, and both the email address and the hotline numbers are good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So whenever the mood strikes you, go ahead and rifle me off an email or hit me up with an audio question. Would love to hear from the Centralites. Here's what's happening on the show. 2 interviews locked and loaded for you. Coming up around 12 past the hour, a gentleman by the name of Mike Fernandez from Moe's Original Barbecue. He's one of the co-founders. We all cook great barbecue. Well, maybe we all don't, but we all would like to think that we cook great barbecue, and then we invite our friends over, and our friends and family tell us how great our barbecue is, and then inevitably one of those people says, man, you should open a barbecue joint. And you're like, yeah. Secretly, you're like, no way. Because we all know that restaurants are doomed to fail, at least in the statistical world. But what if you have made that decision that you're going to take barbecue from the backyard out into the commercial aspect and actually start doing it for a business, actually start doing it for a living? Well, first of all, congratulations to you. Second of all, there are at least 2 distinct ways that you can go about it. You can go get a existing location, like a Long John Silver's or a Wendy's or something that has gone out of business wherever you're at, and kind of inhabit that structure and start from there and do it all on your own. The other obvious avenue to take is by getting into the barbecue franchise business. And of course, the franchise side of it conjures up all sorts of bad barbecue and no quality control, and you are basically at the mercy of whatever this business plan basically says. Now, of course, the trade-off would be that somebody has practiced this business plan. It is a tried and true process, and that success is going to be at a better percentage than if you were going on the first scenario of. So why not bring in somebody that knows what they're talking about when it comes to the franchise side? So look for that interview around 12 past the hour. Coming up after Mike, the most current winner of the Jack Daniel's World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off, Chris Hart from IQ Barbecue Competition Cooking Team. Chris won, basically exploding the pool, the very secret, double secret pool that the Barbecue Central show had on picks that we were making that we thought might be best suited as far as momentum moving forward and past victories and all that other great stuff. We had been handicapping the Jack field since it had been drawn a handful of weeks ago. I picked CancerSucksChicago.com. No luck for me. Ray Lampy, Dr. Barbecue, friend of the show, picked Myron Mixon. No, close, but no cigar. Joe Amore of Smoky Mountain Smokers picked Iowa Smoky D's. 0 for 3 for the double secret, very exclusive Barbecue Central pool picking Jack winners, which just goes to show, obviously, that because you have had to have won an event in order to qualify for the draw to get in to the competition. So everybody that you're competing against has won in some form or fashion somewhere. And Chris certainly has been having a great year with Team IQ, and we will be able to talk to him and get a recap of his events over that weekend. Rumor has it that reality show guest Andy Husbands from Hell's Kitchen is, as he had stated on the show a couple weeks ago when we talked to him about that show, that he was a member of IQ, but rumor has it he missed the Jack Daniels.
Get that big stuff out of here.
What? How do you miss the Jack Daniels, Andy? I'm sure there were some very extenuating circumstances. Why would you miss the Jack and Team IQ and all that great stuff? Especially now when you look back 2020, you would have won. You've been able to take that walk, style, and profile down the aisle with your smoking teammates. So we'll talk to Chris Hart about all of that great stuff. Coming up just around half past the hour, let's call it. Let's call it half past the hour for IQ. And Chris Hart. I did want to make special mention that last show we had Myron Mixon on. We were talking to him. He had been down to the Jack Daniels 12 times in a row. And he finished better than he had ever done in his last 12 years this past weekend, falling one short of winning the overall grand championship. He is reserve grand champion. For those that aren't familiar with the competition lingo, that's second place. So special congratulations goes out to Myron Mixon for finishing better than he had ever done, and probably bittersweet in his eyes because we know he is a competitor first, that not being able to win that grand championship, finally that elusive championship that has not made it on his mantle yet. Of course, I always say 13th year's the charm, Myron. So there's no doubt in my mind that you will actually qualify to go down for your 13th year in a row next year. So good luck if you do. Good showing, good job regardless. You almost made Ray Lampy look like a peach. Don't forget, if you want to win free stuff during the course of the week, you have to do it one of two ways. You either have to follow the show on Twitter, and you can do that by typing in @BBQ Central Show if you use one of those Twitter things, or just go to twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. Or you can friend the show up on Facebook. Search for me, Greg Rempe, REMPE. I have both of those applications linked together when I run the contest. Your chance to win very cool barbecue stuff during the course of the week by using those apps. Quick reminder about Joe B's all-natural free-range bee pollen. I've been taking them for months, and I feel great. They give me energy. They boost my immune system. We all know about the swine flu, so everybody wants to get on board with whatever that can make them healthy. So I use Joe B's to give me energy, prolonged energy throughout the day. My stamina is up, and it's all because of this all-natural free-range bee pollen, and your eyes are glazing over, and that's fine. But I used to listen to a local talk show here talk about Joe B's all the time. And I sat there and was like, yeah, whatever. And then I finally said, well, why don't I give it a try? There's a money-back offer. If it doesn't work, I can send it back, get my money back. And I put in an initial order of a 3-month supply. It built up in my system for about 3 or 4 weeks. And then I noticed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I wasn't tired anymore. I wasn't yawning anymore. I wasn't wanting a nap in the middle of the day. There's no speed, no taurine, no caffeine, no crack cocaine, no huge amounts of sugar like some other sports drinks. It's just all-natural, free-range bee pollen. Right now, if you order a 6-month supply, Joe B will give you a 7th month free. He will also pay for the shipping. And again, there's a money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to lose. If it doesn't work for you, you can call the audio hotline and leave me a message saying that you're a liar, Rempe. If you really try it out and you really monitor your progress and how well you feel since you started, you will find that they work for you just like they work for me. 877-356-32 or joebees.com. That's JOEBEES.com. Give me a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll have Mike Fernandez of Moe's Barbecue talking about franchise opportunities and what it takes to do that. It's Rempe and you right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at TheBarbecueGuru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Stephen Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
Get in the smoke. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back to the Barbecue Central Show. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Thank you for joining me. This portion of the show brought to you by D-Dog's Barbecue Rub. You know you love D-Dog's Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, but would you like to get them locally? Of course you would. You have to do D-Dogs a solid, though. Get them the name, address, and phone number of your local barbecue store, farmer's market, wherever sells barbecue rubs and sauces. And D-Dogs will do the rest. Email the info, Darren, D-A-R-I-N, at ddogsbbq.com. And as we all know, D-Dog's barbecue rubs and sauces are better than ketchup. As promised, joining me now to talk about a topic that I have actually wanted to cover for some time now, and just through sheer luck and good timing, this opportunity availed itself. I'd like to welcome Mike Fernandez of Moe's Original Barbecue joining the Barbecue Central Show. Mike, how are you this evening?
Very good. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, not a problem. Certainly my pleasure. Mike, first of all, to get a little background about yourself and just to kind of dispel any myths that you might be some type of white-collar guy that's just, out there looking to make cookie cutters all over the place. You're actually from one of the barbecue hotbeds out there in the country, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yes, I am. I began in Tuscaloosa. That's where I grew up, and I think I was kicking around graduate school, and my dad got sick of that, so he opened my brother and myself a barbecue restaurant, and we hired Moses Day to work with us. Moses was a great guy. He cooked at the country clubs when we were kids, so maybe I'm from a little bit of the white collar, but I did it all myself, I promise you. But Moses Day, he taught me a lot of things, and then after that, he fell ill, dissolved that business, moved out to Colorado, and went to culinary school. So I took a lot of the things that he taught me and refined them, and I had a kid that worked for me when I had my restaurant in Tuscaloosa, and he moved out here with me, so we opened up Moe's Barbecue.
So did your first introductions come from that restaurant that your dad owned then?
Well, my dad didn't own it. He was a physician, so he opened it up for me and my brother to run, and that's the first time I'd ever been in a restaurant. I think the first day we opened there, nobody had ever worked in a restaurant before, but we just opened the doors and let it happen, and it worked out for us, I must say.
Is there any particular reason that you opened up a barbecue shop versus some other type of culinary treat?
I must say, it's probably because Dreamland was so popular, and with the University of Alabama in town, They really made a name for themselves. So we're thinking, what can we do? What can we do? So we decided to do barbecue. My mother's Italian, so I think Thursday night she helped our business by cooking Italian food. But we just kind of, eked our way into the market, and it worked out for us.
Thursday night is always spaghetti night, right?
That's right. It was at Moe's in Tuscaloosa.
That's right. We're talking with Mike Fernandez of Moe's Original Barbecue. Now, I guess the reason that I wanted to have you on the show tonight is because, as I had mentioned in the show open, there's a number of people that get into this whole barbecue and grilling subculture, and they really refine it in their homes and in their backyards. Inevitably, somebody that they know is like, man, you should open up a barbecue restaurant. And as we all know, you read the odds and the statistics that any type of restaurant business is more likely to fail than make it. So when somebody is looking to go into the barbecue restaurant business, you have at least two ways to go. You can go ahead and inhabit some type of structure that has been run out of business, like an old Wendy's or a Long John Silver, or you could look at the franchise opportunity. Obviously, you have a lot of experience in the franchise opportunity. It sounds like in the startup opportunity as well. For the people that are wondering or that are looking to make a decision one way or the other, why would somebody want to look at a franchise versus starting your own barbecue restaurant?
That's a good question. And, we are a very young franchise, but what we've done to grow into the franchise process, I need to tell you, is we've been from Alabama. We've always had Southern kids that come out. I live out in Bell, Colorado now, by the way, and that's where we started it all back up. We have kids that come out that want to work, and they want to work hard, so then they want to take it to other places. So, we were fine out here in Colorado. We were just thinking we were just have restaurants here, and then as the kids kept coming and kept moving to other places, like we opened up a store down in Orange Beach, Alabama with a kid that worked for us, and he's taken off and bought franchise. So we've grown into the franchise process, I should say. For the way we started out here in Colorado, I'd like to tell people too is, we didn't have the capital to start up, so we bought a trailer. We went to a junkyard and actually built a smoker on wheels, and we went there and started catering. Then we started saving our money from catering, bought a bigger unit, and went around to the fairs and stuff like that, and had a roadside stand set up. And then, after that, we got into some structures. But, I would tell somebody that, I don't know, it's hard to say. I'd like to say, come and buy one of our franchises. Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
But really and truly, it's a lot of fun to do things yourself and to try to progress that way. And then when you hit a bump in the road, you just figure it out yourself. The franchise, what the franchise does for you, it gives you specific ways to cook foods and to sell foods. That's all we can do for them. We can't actually go there and do it for them.
Now, as somebody that has experience with working in a shop that was your own, and then getting into now the Moe's Original Barbecue franchising opportunities, is it less expensive to do it on your own, finding a place and doing it all your own, getting your own smoker and doing all that stuff, having no business plan behind you other than whatever you're putting together from scratch, versus the franchise avenue?
I think the franchise is actually a little bit easier to do. We've been through the ropes, figuring out the leases and all that good stuff for you. We'll actually help you do all that. But, it's fun to do it. I can't leave that on the table for sure.
So if I'm somebody that's interested in doing, by the way, we're talking with Mike Fernandez of Moe's Original Barbecue. If I'm interested in getting a franchise, and I'm sure different from state to state, from city to city, but kind of give us the general aspect of how it all kind of rolls down.
Well, what you do is you find the franchise you want to participate in, whether it be Moe's Original Barbecue or any other barbecue franchise. And then you'll start seeing, they say they want you to be worth X amount of money. We really waive that. We don't care what you're worth as long as you're willing to do the work yourself. So usually there's an upfront franchise fee, and then you'll get into royalties after the restaurant's established. So, and it just, we would give you all the operation manuals and training manuals, and we would provide you with 1 month of our service, and then actually we'd put one of our kids or a guy that's worked in the Moe's system for a couple of months in there with you.
Now, is the person looking to franchise responsible for getting the building, or do they have to build, like some franchises require you to build a new freestanding building?
Really and truly, I'd rather you squeak into your first location, kind of under the radar, not spend much money. Then if you know it's going to be that huge success, you're ready to open that next store and that next store. That's when you can get into building your own unit that suits yourself. But at first, I would tell anybody out there, try to save those dollars and get into a unit that's already been a restaurant.
Okay.
You save a lot of money that way. There's probably $300,000 or $400,000 in going into a shell where potentially you can get into a pre-existing restaurant for $30,000 or $40,000.
Yeah, so certainly a huge cost discrepancy there.
Yeah. And it's tough. The restaurant business is tough, as we all know. You said it several times. One thing to remember that as soon as you get it started, you got to keep that thing going. And just going and going. It's just a lot of hard work, and you really got to be committed to doing the work.
So one of the things associated with the guys that are looked at as going alone, starting it all themselves, not going the franchise route, one of the biggest drawbacks or negatives or cons or whatever you want to call it that you constantly hear coming back up is the fact that these guys are putting in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're cooking. It's just like a madhouse where they almost have no home life. For some reason, and maybe it's just my misconception, that franchising would seem to be able to free you up and actually give you a home life to a certain degree. Is that a misconception on my part, or is that more accurate?
You know, I think that just depends on the individual. If you want to be successful and you're just getting into this business, you're going to want to work those hours. So it's something you've got to have the passion to do. You can't, you know, it's hard for us. We would never consider selling a doctor 12 franchises in Michigan because the kids that we'll sell our franchise to are almost the ones that are committed to working that store for the first year or two and learn what we're trying to sell. You know, we're selling more than just food. We're selling an atmosphere and a way of the South that nobody is really doing right now. And one of the guys that I want you to, you know, get into business cheap. Let's find a good, cheap place to get into business, start making that money, and, you know, then grow from there.
So the cost of franchising a Moe's opportunity, what is that? What are your requirements up front?
You know, we want to know that you're going to work it. So you have to pay us our franchise fee and then find the place and open it up and go with it.
What's the cost of the fees?
Well, I'll have to put a cost on that. I'd say that, you know, we would like to think that you could open up a store for about $60,000 or $70,000 on the low end. And if you were spending $200,000, we'd probably tell you to find another place.
Wow.
There's so many restaurants that are going out of business right now, and you can be adaptive and make it happen. It's pretty simple. You know, it's just food. It's not really tough.
All right. Well, exactly. So you have the plans, and you're sending out some people to help these people get started up.
Exactly.
After everybody leaves, one of the things that you hear about franchising is you are really under restriction of how the policies are dictated and all these requirements, and that there's really no lateral movement on if you want to make menu changes or if you want to cook something a little bit differently. Is that more or less the truth too?
You know, there are certain things that you do have to hold firm to, but a lot of the things, you know, if it's reasonable and it works for you, depending on where you are, you know, I'm sure we'd go along with it. You know, I don't think it's not like McDonald's where there's such a national chain they dictate every little item on the menu. You know, we're pretty lax. We would like to make sure that everybody's getting what they want to get in that particular region. You know, we've got several restaurants in Alabama and then the ones out here in Colorado, and they're quite a bit different. You know, down in Alabama, we don't have anything that's really vegetarian, and out here we're experimenting with vegetarian items just because it is Colorado.
What kind of vegetarian barbecue could you possibly make? Tofu?
We do have a little tofu on the menu in Denver, actually, that we're playing with, and it's kind of to serve the need of the people that don't eat meat, but, you know, really concentrating on side dishes and having different salads on the menu and making it more than just you can only eat meat in these restaurants.
We're talking with Mike Fernandez.
We've got, you know, a bunch of good side dishes every day, and half of them are vegetarian because we're filling the need out here.
Right.
In Alabama, it's a little bit different story.
Yeah, not so many vegetarians here in Cleveland, Ohio.
I bet not. Sounds like Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Right. We're talking with Mike Fernandez from Moe's Barbecue. Moe'sOriginalBBQ.com is the website if you're interested in more information. Now, you guys are starting to roll out franchises. Do you guys have a kind of a long-term or a short-term and long-term growth plan on how you would like to see this kind of take over world domination?
Well, we do, and we're young right now. So what we're doing right now is we're calling it the Friends and Family Program. So if we've got family members or friends that, you know, the economy's tough right now, a lot of young people out of work and willing to work hard. So we're taking advantage of that. And right now we've got probably 6 or 8 on the horizon. But, you know, for them to work for us, we're making them come out here to lovely Vail, Colorado and hang out with us for a couple of months to see how we're doing things. And right now most of them have been friends. So that's the way we're growing. We're not really going to franchise expos or anything like that. We're just trying to grow with them right now.
Gotcha. Now, on the menu side, do you have a extensive menu, or have you tried to keep it streamlined as possible, focusing on what you can do very well and leaving good enough alone?
That's what we do. You know, we do pork, chicken, turkey, ribs, catfish, and shrimp. And then from there, we do 10 to 12 side dishes every day. They're all from scratch side dishes. A lot of Southern living type food in there.
So lots
of
of
casseroles and stuff like that, right?
Lots of Crisco and butter and cream.
Exactly.
Nice. We're talking with Mike Fernandez of Moe's Original Barbecue. If folks are interested about potentially looking into this franchise opportunity, or at least just seeing what Moe's Original BBQ is all about, how do they want to find out that information? Do you have any phone numbers they might be able to get in touch with?
Yeah, just pick up the phone and call any of us. My partner, Jeff Kennedy, handles a lot of email stuff, and he's at 970-376-7427. And it's Jeff Kennedy. He's my partner at Moe's Original Barbecue. My other partner is Ben Gilbert, and his phone number is 970-331-9674, and any of us are available to talk to you. We love the opportunity to grow, and we're awfully excited about our future. We've got to make it happen now.
Well, with the economy at least potentially looking like it might be on the rebound, nobody loves barbecue better than people that are down on their luck, because it's that comfort food and it tastes really good, and quite honestly, it stays with you for hours on end. It's not some type of little salad you're pushing down your gullet. This is Mike Fernandez from Moe's Original Barbecue. Moe'sOriginalBBQ.com is the website, and I will make sure that I put these phone numbers here in the show notes. Mike, appreciate you coming on tonight talking about the franchise side of things, and continued success with Moe's Original Barbecue.
Thanks.
All right, take care. It's Mike Fernandez. Interesting stuff with the franchise. I have to tell you, I've always heard that franchising is very restrictive, but it's nice to hear that there's a company out there that is willing to work with potential new franchisees. And that's what's important. Again, Moe'sOriginalBBQ.com is the website. That was Mike Fernandez of Moe's Original Barbecue. All right, give me a timeout when we come back. Chris Hart from IQ will recap the Jack Daniels win that he had just this past weekend. It's Rempy and you right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at TheBarbecueGuru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Stephen Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
Get in the smoke. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Thanks again to Mike Fernandez from Moe's Original Barbecue for joining us last segment talking about franchise barbecue opportunities across this great land. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. This portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at the Barbecue Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices, not to mention a host of other products that make your barbecue and grilling life much easier, more efficient, and effective. 2 ways to look them up. Online, thebbqguru.com, or you can give them a toll-free phone call at 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. As promised, joining me now, the newest member of the I Just Won the Jack Daniels Championship Barbecue Cook-Off 2009 style, Chris Hart from IQ. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Greg.
Nice to be in that fraternity, I bet, right?
It was a heck of an experience going down there with all those amazing cooks and coming out on top.
So we're certainly looking forward to getting your recap of the weekend. But for the people that might not be as intimately familiar with the IQ team as some of the people that are more steeped in the competition side, why don't you give us a little background about how you decided to get into the competition scene?
Yeah, I mean, probably it's been about 10 years. My good friend Andy Husbands and I had opened a restaurant together, and we just kind of got into barbecue, mostly through, I think where it all started was at the East Coast Grill in Cambridge when we were hanging out there with Chris Schlesinger. He kind of got us into barbecue, and it kind of grew from there.
It always comes back to Schlesinger.
What's that?
It always goes back to Schlesinger, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's one of the godfathers of the whole thing, and it, for us, it just started as a bunch of guys going out and having fun on the weekend and enjoying it. But we won a couple of trophies, got bit by the bug, and have been really getting into it the last few years. So it's myself and Andy, my brother Jamie, and a good friend John Delfa, who runs a place up in Vermont called the Belted Cow Bistro.
Nice.
And we went down there and had a good time.
Talking with Chris Hart. He is the pitmaster of IQ Competition Cooking Team and the most recent winner of the Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. Chris, and we don't want to rehash the elaborate picking process for the Jack and all that stuff, but what contest did you win in order to qualify for the Jack draw?
We actually, at the 11th hour, went up to Maine and cooked the Maine State Barbecue Championship in August. And got lucky and won that one, and that got us an invite.
Now, is that an automatic qualifier if you win that?
It is. So a lot of the states in the Midwest have 10 or 20 state championships, and Maine happened to have just the only one they had. So when we won that, we got an automatic in.
So here's the big question, and you get down. Yeah. So you get down there and you're setting up shop, and I don't want to say how many times you've been down there because that's going to ruin a question I want to ask you at the end. But you've been down to the Jack a number of times.
Yeah.
When you went the first time or the first 2 times or whatever, is there the propensity, and I'm asking you to kind of speculate for teams that maybe were down there for the first time, is there a propensity for you to kind of get starstruck and look around and be like, man, that's really so-and-so and so-and-so, and get lost in the hoopla of the event and not be able to focus on the food?
Absolutely. It's getting starstruck, and I think it's, what happens with me specifically is trying to do something special, right? Is that sometimes I'll cook the best brisket of my life while I'm power washing my deck in the backyard, and I'll cook it, and I'll say, why the heck couldn't I cook it like this when I'm down in Lynchburg? And so it's just and then I get myself down to Lynchburg and poking and prodding and open the cooker and trying to do it special and right and kind of overdoing it, and I end up with an inferior product. So it's trying to fight that a little bit from overdoing it and trying to just let it happen. And I think that's the main thing. You get caught up in the excitement and all those teams and everything going on, and it is hard to kind of do what got you there.
This is Chris Hart from IQ Competition Cooking Team, 2009 winner of the Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. Now, one of the other things that always make its rounds during the forums and pre-talk before the Jack is the fact that the judges that are down there, while the KCBS comes down and gives them a quick run-through on whatever good barbecue is supposed to taste like, you're not dealing with judges that have a trained palate or a well-versed palate when it comes to tasting competition barbecue. A lot of bloggers, a lot of restaurant owners, a lot of people that Jack Daniels wants to have out there and impress. So do you cook differently for that competition than you would any other traditional KCBS or ICBA or whatever other event you would cook in?
I don't necessarily cook it different. I think that the main thing we always focus on is trying to get the meat perfectly cooked. And we do it, we try to do that every single contest, and we do it the same way at the Jack or the Royal or, a small backyard contest locally. Now you might, tweak the seasonings a little bit. We may have went for slightly different sauces and slightly different flavor combinations. But in terms of cooking, we're, the same thing.
Does the white meat episode give you fits at all?
It has in past years, and particularly the presentation of it. This year we cooked some chicken wings and put some chicken wings in the box, and that seemed to work out pretty good.
Does chicken wing constitute as white meat?
Yeah, it's up on the breast there, so it's part of the white meat breast. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as things are unfolding, you get your, I guess one of the big questions that you always ask the people that are winning big competitions. How did you feel about the turn-ins?
Looking back on it, it really was kind of a perfect cook. Everything came out exactly as I hoped. Before the awards, you don't want to jinx it. You don't want to. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, you need to cook great, and you need to get a little lucky about where your food goes and which tables it hits and all that kind of stuff. So you hesitated to make any predictions beforehand, but afterwards, and kind of look back and think about it, I was lucky. I was really thankful that I was able to have that kind of almost once-in-a-lifetime cook at that contest.
Well, it's nice to hear finally.
So we were pretty happy with it.
Good to hear that you were happy with the turn-ins. Usually I'm talking to the guy that said, man, everything I thought was trash that I turned in, but then, of course, they end up winning the grand championship.
Yeah, you hear that sometimes, too. We were pretty happy with what we did. We however the chips fell, we did the best we could.
We're talking with Chris Hart. He is the pitmaster of IQ Barbecue Competition Cooking Team, 2009 winner of the Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. The award ceremonies have been notoriously long from anybody I have talked to in the past. Did that happen to hold true again this year, or were they able to liven them up a little bit?
They mixed it up a little bit. They tried to focus on, I think they dropped the Shade Tree Contest awards out. They jumped right into announcing the various categories, and then part of what maybe lengthens it a little bit is, there's the tip of the caps to the volunteers, and there's some lifetime achievement awards, and those are important and nice, but it does stretch the awards out, and they kind of mixed it up this year. They went right into some category calls, and then they did the some of the volunteer praise and whatnot, and then they got back to some of the categories. So it was better this year for sure, I thought.
So after all the category calls were made, did you at that point realize that you actually had a really good shot at pulling grand champion off, or was there still a little bit of wondering in your mind?
They're about to go right into one of the things that happened in the awards. They're about to go right into reserve and grand, just called reserve grand, and the crowd just would have nothing to do with it. The crowd just demanded that they call the top 10, and they did. They shifted gears and they called the top 10 overall. And I thought we had a good shot at the top 10. That was about it. And when some of the teams that had 3 calls under their belts, Bubba Q, Jack's Old South, there's another one in there that I'm just forgetting at the moment. When they got called, and that's when I started kind of getting nervous, and my heart started pounding out of my chest that we had a shot. And, it was just about, we got called in 2 categories. Did I bomb one of those other categories? I just had to wait and see, and we got lucky, and it happened.
So what's the initial feeling that runs over you after you're called as grand champ of Jack Daniels?
It's, doing this competition thing for 10 years and being really focused and dedicated on it. When you daydream and dream, the dream for me has been winning that event. The motivation, a lot of my motivation is going to that event, and I've kind of mulled over how I'd feel about it if it ever happened, and it was just kind of like a dream come true. That moment had gone through my head many times, and for it to happen was just an amazing experience.
This is Chris Hart from IQ Competition Cooking Team joining us here on the Barbecue Central Show. 2 quick last questions. One, would you be willing right now to trade your Jack Daniels Grand Champion in order to take Grand Champion at the American Royal Invitational next year?
No.
Now, let me ask you this question.
No, I wouldn't. I would say that the American, this past, I've been doing this for about 10 years. I've been to the Royal a bunch of times, the Jack a bunch of times. The field at the American Royal Invitational this past year was the toughest field I've ever been in at any barbecue contest. So, that's a very prestigious win, but there's something special about the Jack being down in the hollow near the distillery and the tradition, and it's just something that can't be beat, in my opinion, and I wouldn't give it up for the world.
So my quick follow-up question to that question, then I'll get to the last question, is if you won the Invitational this year, would you have traded the Invitational to win the Jack?
That's hard to say.
It's never a no.
Yeah, I probably would. Just because, like I said before, when the daydream over the years while cooking barbecue, the ultimate accomplishment in my head has always been winning the Jack.
All right, last question. This was your 8th time down to the Jack in a row.
Yes, that's correct.
So the first couple times you go down, you're probably happy you're just going down to take part in it, and then at some point you're probably like, man, I really want to win this thing this year. So time starts to march on, and aside from Myron Mixon, who had been down 12 times in a row and finishing the best he had ever done this past weekend as reserve grand, was there a specific point in time when you went from this is going to be my time to now 8 years down the road, maybe my time has passed, and I wonder if this is actually ever going to happen? I never really. If the motivation of going down there is to win the whole thing and that's it, it's going to be, it's not going to be. There's more to it than that, right? There's the whole experience of going down there and cooking. So the main, the winning the event's not the only thing that was pulling me down there. But this year it was my 8th year. Carolyn Wells pulled up to my site and gave me my turn-in boxes, and on the turn-in box I was box number 8. And I said, hey, maybe this is lucky 8 this year, and it turned out it was. And you get to go back down regardless if you win anything next year, because returning or champions return the following year to defend. Chris, do you have a website that people can go to learn more about the IQ competition team? We do. It's jamhart.com/IQ. /IQ. All right. This is Chris Hart. He is the pitmaster of IQ Competition Cooking Team, and he is the most recent winner of the Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. Chris, appreciate you doing this short segment with me, kind of recapping the weekend and how everything went down and how you guys got into the competition scene. Appreciate it. Continued success. Thanks a lot, Greg. All right, take care. It's Chris Hart, 2009 Jack Daniels World Champ. If you need him, and you probably don't want to see him next year. And it's scary to was Johnny Trigg did Johnny Trigg actually win back-to-back, or has he just won it twice? That's got to be one of the hardest ones to actually go back-to-back on. Well, it's probably hard in any barbecue competition to actually go back-to-back. I know Rod Gray did it last year at one of those Smoke on the Water events, I believe. But jamhearts.com/IQ, I believe, was the website. I will make sure that I have that correct in the show notes. That was Chris Hart. Give me a quick timeout. We'll come back with one more segment. It's Rempe and you right here on the Barbecue Central Show.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Stephen Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.
Get in the smoke. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
We are back and better than ever. It's the Barbecue Central Show. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Thanks for joining me. And thanks again to Chris Hart for coming on. Huge win this past weekend at the Jack Daniel's World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. You see, I asked the question. If you win the Royal, would you trade it in order to win the Jack Daniel's? First of all, I've never had anybody I've ever asked that question to say no. Second of all, it always goes back to while the Jack Daniel's isn't a KCBS event, and any team that takes part in the Jack that weekend, if there's another KCBS event going on or whatever sanctioning body that you're competing in, if you go to that event, you can't go to those other ones that you might usually take place in and accumulate points for those Team of the Year standings for those other sanctioning bodies. But there is something about that Jack Daniel's barbecue cook-off that has that illustrious, as Chris had said, it's in this down in the hollow, and you got the Jack Daniel's distillery, and you have all this majesty and all this history behind you, and all these great teams are there. So would you trade a Royal win in order to get Jack? I would imagine if I asked it to 100 people, 95, maybe 98 would answer yes, they would trade that off. Conversely, would you trade your Jack title to get the American Royal Invitational title? Very small handful, if any, would probably actually pony up to do that. So that gives you a little insight onto exactly how much cachet the Jack Daniel's has in this world we call competition barbecue. Wanted to share something with you real quickly because I want to get your thoughts on it, and you can send your thoughts to me via email, bbqcentralradio@gmail.com, and maybe there's something we can pick up next week on the next show. There is a blog that is written by a guy that does a radio show out on the West Coast, and it's Cooking Outdoors with Mr. Barbecue. And he wrote an interesting blog post a while back, and I wanted to share it with you, and then we can kind of see what you think. And he goes on to say, if you haven't checked out my 12 Commandments of Barbecue, you should. But he's adding a 13th to the list. Thou shalt wait until thy meat is 100 degrees before smoking. He continues, I get all kinds of cooking questions at work. It's part of my job at Traeger Pellet Grills, and it usually provides me with a pulse beat of what people are cooking, what they're having problems cooking on their grills, and generally what they want to know. One of the topics that's been coming up with regularity is a friend of a friend of a friend told me that you can't smoke meat after it's reached X degrees. Bull poopy. He wrote bull poopy. I don't know who started this, but it defies logic. Listen, if you start smoking meat when it's cold, all you're doing is sealing the pores on the surface of the meat. If you really want to smoke flavor in the meat, you need to allow the meat fibers to warm up so they'll loosen up, thereby allowing the smoke to more deeply penetrate the meat fibers. Think about it like this. When you go for a massage or physical therapy, what do they do first? Warm up the muscles. What is meat? Muscle matter. Oh my God, Harold, the man is making sense. He wrote that. I didn't say that. So let the meat warm up to at least 100 degrees internal before you even consider adding smoke to it. Since meat doesn't begin to cook until it reaches 120 degrees, you'll be fine. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I know what I'm talking about. As I've trained people in the art of producing award-winning barbecue, the people who were having problems achieving good smoke flavor in their meat began putting my theory into practice, and guess what? They found out that it works. They found out that it works. Interesting. Never, ever in my life heard that before, that you should let your meat warm up to 100 degrees internal before you add smoke flavor to it. Of course, the initial question that comes off to my mind is, what if you're using a stick burner? You probably have no choice at that point. Quick correction about the Chris Hart website URL. It's www.jamhart.com/bbq/iq.html. Don't worry, I'll have all this stuff here in the post-show notes. Never fear, Centralites. I am here to make sure that you have all of the information and correct. So if you want to react to that blog post, I would love to get your email reaction, or if you want to leave me an audio message at 216-220-0966. We'll react to some of that next week. Thanks again to Mike Fernandez from Moe's Original Barbecue for coming on, talking about the franchise opportunity. That's Moe'sOriginalBBQ.com website. Chris Hart joining me last segment. 2009 Jack Daniel's World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. He is the grand champ, and he will be defending next year in 2010. Again, that's IQ Competition Cooking Team, jamhart.com/bbq/iq.html. Big show lined up for next week. Hope to see you then. And until we talk barbecue again, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. So long, everybody.
The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at TheBarbecueGuru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Forget going from site to site to get all your barbecue and grilling supplies and make your first and final stop at fredsmusicandbarbecue.com. In the market for a new barbecue pit, we have all the big name brands like Big Green Egg and more. As a matter of fact, Fred's is staffed by eggheads and carries all the parts and accessories for the Big Green Egg. More of a pellet head, you say? Fred's is the pellet grill superstore with grills in stock from Traeger, Green Mountain, and Country Smokers from Louisiana Grills. Fred also carries smokers from Cook Shack, Bradley, and Weber as well as a full lineup of charcoal grills. And once you're outfitted with your new smoker or grill, you'll find absolutely everything you need to make your barbecue or grilling experience a success. Fred is also the creator and distributor of Tasty Licks barbecue products, including their great line of rubs, spices, and sauces. You gotta try them. You can also get your hands on a full lineup of marinades, accessories, lump charcoal, wood chips, pellets, chunks, and even the great grilling tools from Stephen Reichland of Barbecue U fame. Check Fred out on the web at fredsmusicandbbq.com or check out their fully stocked showroom in beautiful Shillington, PA.